Mark Elias, founder of Democracy Docket and chair of Elias Law Group.
You know, I just feel like at the top we should just lay out that what we are really talking about here is a White House that is weaponizing the Justice Department to protect the president. I continue to ask, protect the president from what? I guess when it comes to the redistricting, he's trying to protect him from losing, and Texas is aiding and abetting in that. When it comes to what the grand jury and then what Congress is doing, it just does not sit well with me, Alicia. I'm very unsettled.
I am very unsettled as well. And the question I have, Mark Elias, is whether we sort of whistle past some of this stuff and say, yes, it is intended to be a distraction from Epstein, or if we acknowledge that while it is a distraction, it is also an escalation.
I think we have to acknowledge that it's an escalation. And I'm not sure that it's just a distraction. I mean, Donald Trump has been weaponizing the Department of Justice against his political enemies literally from the moment he put his hand over the Bible. He didn't actually put it on the Bible, as you recall. He sort of hovered it over it. Maybe he was looking for like a little way out there. Who knows? But he has been weaponizing the Department of Justice from the beginning. And we have seen that in case after case, incident after incident. So we should not, treat lightly the fact that he has, basically told his Department of Justice who to go after, who not to go after. Now, according to the video that you just showed, he's now like running the Bureau of Prisons, like, who should be moved to what place. He's now, everyone who took the Epstein files seriously when the right wing was saying they needed to be released. Where are you now? Like, you have the President of the United States, someone who is clearly in the Epstein files, trying to make sure that one of the convicted traffickers of these young women and girls, make sure she gets cushier arrangements. Like, this is not normal activity in the Epstein files. It is interfering with law enforcement and the way in which inmates are normally handled. It is not normal that he is telling the Department of Justice to go after his political enemies. It is not normal that he is essentially forcing Republicans at the state level to take these extraordinary actions that are wildly undemocratic, both with respect to the gerrymandering itself in the state of Texas, but shortly before we went on the air, I saw that the governor and attorney general have brought a lawsuit to try to evict Democrats from their seats. I mean, this is getting very, very dangerous. So I don't think it's just a distraction.
Well, let's pick up on that then. It's getting very dangerous, and it is not just a distraction. When we were chatting earlier today, I think what struck me about everything from what is happening in Texas to now the Justice Department and the Congress chasing old ghosts, frankly, instead of literally looking at predators and addressing crime right now. What struck me about this is Donald Trump was able to get an entire swath of people, well-meaning folks, many of them, to believe that he actually won the 2020 election, right? That the 2020 election was rigged, and people believed it so much so that many of them took up arms against the United States government to stop the certification of votes. But really, they thought that they were being patriots, right? Folks gave money to support his quote-unquote big lie. Now, there are people out there that believe that this Russiagate conspiracy, they are primed to believe this. So two things can't be happening at the same time. That if he was able to do that on the 2020 election, right, and undermine the credibility of that with these lies and get people to believe that, why should we think that this is going to be any different what he's doing right now? I agree that it's a distraction, but I also think, to your point, it's dangerous.
Absolutely. Donald Trump has a track record of escalating his supporters to the point of violence. I mean, remember in the 2016 election, if you recall, there was that video in which he would, point at hecklers in the crowd and say, basically, get him out of here, and would suggest that that he would pay the legal fees if people roughed up protesters. We saw, obviously, as you say, in 2020 when he lost the election, it escalated to violence and and death in the Capitol. And we need to treat seriously seriously that when Donald Trump wants to steal seats in Texas, he wants to steal seats in Texas. When he wants to send federal prosecutors against his political opponents, we're going to see federal prosecutors go after his political opponents. Pam Bondi has instructed a grand jury to be impaneled. I promise you, she didn't do that to then report back to the President of the United States that, oh, don't worry, there was no problem, everything was on the up and up. There are going to be sham indictments, there are going to be sham trials, and everyone needs to recognize that this is a very, very dangerous thing that Donald Trump is doing, and it is more dangerous if we don't take it seriously. I will add, hey, Donald Trump released the Epstein files.
Well, yes, exactly. And to pick up on a point that Simone made at the beginning when she said that this is all very unsettling, that she's unsettled by this, I'm real settled. Because this is all crazy as hell. And everybody's walking around, Mark, as you well know, because you and I have had this conversation, scratching their head, go, what do we do? What do we do next? It's what you're doing right now. It's what others like you in this space are trying to do to recreate an opportunity for us to have a conversation and expose, like you just said at the end there, give us the documents. Tell us what the truth is here. So with this sort of seemingly conflict between trying to expose the fact that Donald Trump keeps lying to people and keep distracting and changing the narrative, as well as trying to get some points on the board, to get some wins, to show the American people just how phony this guy is, how much of an authoritarian kook he really is. What do we do? How do I help convince the American people to join us in this effort? Because it's not just Democrats staying away in Texas. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be something else. And have you given some thought to what that something else is?
Yeah, look, I mean, the American people want to see the Democrats have fight. They want to see that, as you say, we are not just staying away in Texas, but we are actually addressing this in other states where we have power. And, you know, you and I, Michael, I feel like were dismissed as kooks a few weeks ago when you and I talked about Democrats upping the ante. And I think I said, you know, if they try to take these 5 seats in Texas, Democrats should redistrict every Republican out of 7 states and gain 30 seats. Right. And you agreed with me. And I think that is what Donald Trump understands. And at the time, it seemed really out there. Now you hear more and more people expressing similar sentiments, and good for them. But what's happened in the last 24 hours? 2 Republican members of Congress have now said they support a ban on mid-cycle redistricting. 1 Republican member of Congress has proposed legislation to say that any mid-cycle redistricting will be rolled back. Now, they're not doing that because they're out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because they're now afraid of their seats. And we need to show the American people that we are not just playing defense, but that we will fight with the same tools, and that if they bring guns, not only won't we bring knives, but if they bring pistols, we'll bring machine guns. Like, we need to be showing that we will fight tougher and harder every single day on all of these fronts, which is why I ended, as I did, the last answer with release the Epstein files. Forget just the grand jury materials. Release all of them. Release all the FBI interviews. Release the FBI analysis. Release the FBI spreadsheets. Obviously, redact the names of the victims, the women who are victims. But the rest, the men involved, none of them are victims. All of them should be released.